So this is crude oil, the black sticky stuff that literally powers the modern world. But where does it actually come from? Because no, it doesn't just appear in barrels at a refinery. This stuff has a backstory, a long one. Crude oil is the fossilized remains of ancient plankton and marine organisms that died millions of years ago. Over time, heat, pressure, and the weight of the earth turn all that organic matter into hydrocarbons, the gooey, energy-rich molecules that make oil what it is. Today, we drill for it mainly under oceans and deserts. Places like Saudi Arabia and Iraq have been sitting on massive oil fields for decades, but so have countries like the United States, Russia, Venezuela, and parts of West Africa too. In fact, Nigeria and Angola are some of the biggest suppliers to countries like South Africa, which actually doesn't produce much crude oil of its own. Most of it is imported. Okay, so once crude oil is pulled from the ground in places like Nigeria, it's not ready to use yet. It has to move a lot. This is the midstream part of the journey, where oil is transported and stored, sometimes for weeks, even months. From export terminals like Bonny or Cuiboa on Nigeria's coast, the oil is pumped into massive crude oil tankers, sometimes the size of skyscrapers laid on their side. These ships then sail down the west coast of Africa, through the Atlantic Ocean, around the Cape of Good Hope, and into ports like Durban, Cape Town, or Saldanha Bay, where South Africa receives, stores, or transfers the crude. Once it arrives, the oil is offloaded into storage terminals, connected by a maze of pipelines, tanks, and rail lines that keep the crude moving toward refineries. And this is the entire midstream operation. Tankers, insurance, port fees, pipeline tariffs, all of it adds costs and risks. Storms, piracy, political delays, even a single missed shipment can disrupt the whole system. So by the time crude even reaches the refinery, it's already traveled thousands of kilometers, crossed the oceans, and passed through one of the most expensive logistics systems in the world. So now the crude has arrived, fresh off the ship, sitting in giant storage tanks near a refinery. This is where things get really interesting. It's called the downstream phase. This is where crude becomes cash, or more accurately, it becomes petrol, diesel, jet fuel, asphalt, and plastics. The refinery takes this messy, complex liquid and cooks it. Literally, it heats the crude in a giant tower called the distillation column and separates it based on boiling points. Lighter stuff like gasoline floats to the top, heavy stuff like bitumen and lubricants sink to the bottom. But that's just the beginning. Some of the products are then sent through crackers, high pressure units that break down heavy molecules into lighter, more useful ones. On average, 1 barrel of crude, that's about 159 liters, can be turned into 72 liters of petrol, 34 liters of diesel, 14 liters of jet fuel, and smaller amounts of other stuff. Each of these products has its own market price, and the real profit, it depends on how efficiently the refinery runs, what products are in demand, and how much money it costs to make them. So refining is kind of like alchemy, turning black sludge into the fuel that powers the world. It's where science, logistics, and economics all collide. Alright, so we've drilled it, shipped it, and refined it. Now we've got usable fuel, petrol, diesel, jet fuel, ready to hit the road. This is the final step in the oil value chain, retail and distribution. Fuel is loaded into tanker trucks and sent across the country to airports, factories, and most importantly, to your local petrol station. In a country like South Africa, this means thousands of kilometers of roads, pipeline, and distribution hubs, all working non-stop to keep the fuel flowing. And here's the part most people see, the forecourt, the petrol station. But this is also where margins get razor thin. Even though you're paying over 20 rand per liter, most of that goes to taxes, levies, and the cost of crude. The oil company, the retailer, they only keep a small slice, and every step from transport to retail is tightly regulated. In South Africa, the government sets the fuel price every month. They factor in things like global oil prices, exchange rates, and taxes. So that 100 rand you just spent filling up your car, it's the final chapter in the global journey that started thousands of kilometers away, deep underground in another country. So that's the journey from crude to cash, drilled in the swamps of the Niger Delta, shipped across oceans, cracked in a South African refinery, and finally pumped into your tank.